Have you ever looked at your bank account, felt relatively okay with the number, and still felt weird about spending money on yourself? You're not being dramatic. That's a real thing. And it's usually not about the money itself, it's about what money means to you, what it's tied to emotionally, what it stirs up subconsciously, and what your nervous system still thinks it needs to protect you from. Even if you're financially stable, or maybe especially if you are, you might still feel guilt, resistance, or a weird pressure to be responsible all the time. Like you need to justify every little thing, even to yourself. That's not just personality, that's actually programming. And most of it, you didn't even choose. You actually inherited it. We don't just inherit, family recipes or high cheekbones or whatever it is families pass down. We actually inherit beliefs about money, safety, success, and what's allowed. Sometimes it's obvious, like if your parents said things like, "We can't afford that. Money doesn't grow on trees. You should be grateful for what you have." Other times it was quieter. Maybe money wasn't talked about at all, just tension in the air when bills showed up, or a little side eye if someone spent too freely, or a subtle vibe that people who had too much money were somehow less moral. Even if you didn't grow up in financial struggle, you probably still absorbed something. Beliefs like don't flaunt it, rest is earned, play it safe, don't talk about money, it's tacky. You might have internalized those messages, even if no one ever said them directly. It's the tone, the modeling, the energy. There was a moment in my own life that made me realize how deep that wiring can go. I've always loved giving to people, like birthdays, holidays, random surprises, and even when money was tight, I'd still find a way to make the gift meaningful. But when it came to spending money on myself, that's a whole different vibe. I'd hesitate. I'd talk myself out of going to the store altogether. And this is obviously before online shopping made it easy to like self sabotage with just a click. Back then, you had to physically avoid the things you wanted. And if it wasn't groceries or something practical, I'd convince myself it wasn't necessary. Even when I had the money, I carried the belief that spending it on myself needed to be justified, like treating myself was something I had to earn. And that belief, it wasn't mine. It was something I absorbed. Because here's the kicker: my parents weren't financially reckless or fearful. They were practical, kind, generous people. But money just wasn't something we talked about openly. There was no emotional modeling. I didn't have a framework for what ease with money could actually look or feel like. So I just made one up. And it was based on bits and pieces that I heard and just absorbed. And I followed it for decades. That's what so many of us are doing, living by emotional blueprints we didn't even know we downloaded. And unless we pause and question them, those blueprints silently shape everything: how we earn, how we spend, how we receive, how we feel. Sometimes it looks like overspending, and sometimes it just looks like under earning. But more often, it looks like this: you avoid checking your bank account, even when you know you're fine. You downplay your success so others won't feel bad. You feel guilty taking a break unless you've earned it by being productive. You hold back from investing in yourself even when it would help. You assume wanting more makes you greedy or selfish. Does any of this sound familiar? It's not just bad habits. This is actually your nervous system doing what it was taught. Your nervous system was taught to stay small, stay safe, do not rock the boat. But here's the problem. You're not here to play small. This chapter of your life is about expansion. It's about joy, peace, possibility. And those old beliefs, they are not allowed on this journey forward. So let's talk about how to actually start shifting them. Step 1, name the rule you've been following. Don't overthink it. Just notice what pops up when you think about spending on yourself or you think about trying to build something new in your life. What's the rule? Is it something like, relaxing means I'm being lazy. Wanting more means I'm ungrateful. Success has to be hard earned. Your rule might sound completely different. These are just a few examples to help you spot the pattern. Whatever yours is, write it down. Say it out loud. Doing this gives you space. You're not being the belief anymore. You're just observing it. Step 2, ask yourself where it came from. Whose voice is that? Is it your dad's? Your mom's? Maybe your grandmother who saved plastic baggies and washed them in the sink? Sometimes it's not even one person. It's a whole culture, a religion, maybe a generation that was shaped by war or recessions or constant instability. Once you see where the belief came from, you can start to ask, does this still belong in my life? Step 3, try on a new belief. This part doesn't have to feel like a total identity overhaul, and you're not pretending. You're practicing a new way of being. So try something like, I'm allowed to enjoy what I've built. Rest isn't a reward, it's a right. Money spent on peace of mind is never wasted. I don't have to struggle to prove my worth. It might feel weird at first, like you're wearing someone else's coat, and that's okay. Let it be awkward. You're trying on a new emotional fit, and it's one that actually supports who you're becoming. And it's not about blaming your family or resenting your past. It's about taking the driver's seat now. Because maybe you've already built something beautiful, or maybe you're just starting to dream again. Either way, the goal isn't just more money, it's more freedom, emotional freedom, identity freedom, life freedom. And it starts by realizing you don't have to keep obeying invisible rules just because they've been there a long time. You're allowed to want more. You're allowed to spend on yourself, and you're allowed to feel safe, even when those things are uncertain. And that's not being indulgent. That's finally being in charge of your own life in a deep and meaningful way. And when you stop living by old inherited scripts, when you rewrite the belief that ease has to be earned, you actually open the door to a completely different experience of life. That's one where money isn't the enemy, it's a tool. One where success doesn't feel heavy, it feels aligned. One where you give yourself permission to grow, even if it looks different than it used to. That's not just financial growth, that's personal growth. And it's the kind that lasts. If this made you think differently about your own story, if you're starting to spot some of those inherited beliefs you didn't even know you had, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. It helps more than you know and lets me keep creating videos that speak directly to this chapter of your life. Thanks for being here. Next chapter is coming soon.